Welcome to the Central Pennsylvania Music Podcast. Tonight, Nick Mucci and Faith Noel. This episode is sponsored by URL Insurance Group. And now your hosts, Daniel Kime and Alan McCutcheon.
Hello, and welcome to the Central Pennsylvania Music Podcast. I'm your host, Daniel. Coming up, we have Nick Mucci and Faith Noel. Stay tuned. Sitting here with Nick Mucci, Director of Development for Christian Churches United. Nick, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight.
Man, I'm excited to be here.
Of course, dude. Hey, we're excited to have you here, too. You do a lot of different things. You're heavily involved with the Central Pennsylvania Music Podcast when it comes to Joy To The Burg.
Yes.
Let's dig into that a little bit. Tell us what you do.
Yeah, so Joy To The Burg is a project that started almost 6 years ago now.
Okay.
Central Pennsylvania musicians got together and said, hey, what if we used our talent, used our gift, and gave it away to serve those who are living on the streets? And so Joy To The Burg was born because of an idea of a bunch of musicians. They've recorded 5 albums this year. We're coming up on our 6th album. We're pretty excited about it. So you've got the sale of the album, a concert, TV special, just incredible opportunity for people to enjoy Christmas music because it's a big deal for lots of people.
Oh, yeah.
And to support those who kind of end up on the edge of society at times.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome that you have that opportunity to give back to the community, help out, and then have the community help out another community while you're at it. So, what is your involvement with Joy To The Burg?
Yeah. So my role it's myself and Brendan Valentine and Bob Geiger. We kind of work together to help produce the album. I help get some of the fundraising side of things and get some things sponsored so we can get the album produced, get the concert scheduled, and things like that. But working with Christian Churches United, the money that's raised through the project goes to support the work that we do for our street outreach, our overnight shelters, and our safe haven house.
Okay.
And so a big part of what I do is try to encourage, try to talk about it. Any chance I get, I'm a guy who likes to talk. So if I can be in front of somebody sharing about it and spreading the word, that's my role.
Hey, that's why you're here, man.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Great. And now you mentioned you have a concert for it every year, too. This
Absolutely.
one, you said it's December
15th.
Okay.
So that is the third Sunday in December. We'll be out at the Inglewood, where we've been the last few years. The Inglewood is absolutely amazing. Shout out to the Inglewood.
Yes. Sponsor of the podcast. We love the Inglewood.
Let's go. We love you, Inglewood. So the Inglewood's been an incredible host the last few years. So we'll be there again in the afternoon from about 2 to 6. 4 hours of Christmas music, good food, good drink, and just a good time to be together. We had Santa Claus was there last year, and so we're hoping the big man makes an appearance again.
Oh man, I'm sure he will.
Yeah,
he wouldn't miss that for the world.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. So now we talked about the concert. You know, there's also album sales as well. You said
album, yeah. So what's been done over the last 6 years is we've produced CDs.
Okay.
People still buy CDs and still listen to them. There's also an opportunity to download the MP3s.
Okay.
And so this year's album is going to be a double disc set. We've got 24 songs on the album.
Oh my goodness.
We're really fired up about it.
Got one for every day leading up to Christmas.
Exactly. So it's just going to be one of those things. It's like your own little advent calendar. You can just one song a day and work your way there to Christmas. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I love that.
Absolutely. We also this year did a best of vinyl.
Okay.
There have been a lot of musicians that have been on every album. And so it was an opportunity to kind of celebrate their gift, the way that they give to the project, and with the resurrection of vinyl, it's cool to get it back out there and be on vinyl too.
Oh yeah, who doesn't love a good classic vinyl?
Exactly.
So now we have ticket sales from the concert. We have sales from selling the CDs. What is all this going towards?
Yeah, so all of it goes to support the street outreach work amongst the homeless, our overnight shelter for women and non-binary individuals, and then also our men's overnight shelter and our safe haven house. The women's overnight shelter is a really cool story. The first album was 2019. The funds raised from that first album opened that women's shelter. There hadn't been a shelter specifically just during the winter for women at that time. And so it gave birth to that, which is super incredible. We got some incredible stories from the shelter and impacted there. And then this year, the thing that we're really excited about is that shelter that was opened by the Joy To The Burg albums is going to be expanding to a year-round shelter. So no longer just December to March. It's going to be November, and we're not closing.
Oh, my gosh.
And so it's going to be awesome.
That is awesome.
It's going to be really cool, man. Really cool.
Goodness, so you've been doing this for, going on 6 years now.
Yeah.
How much have you guys raised over this?
We have raised over $187,000.
Oh, my gosh.
Selling CDs, selling digital music, having a concert. There's been Christmas cards that have come and gone in the midst of it too, and it's just it's an expression of generosity that just blows me away, man. It's been so fun to be a part of.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you said it's a 24-song album. Is this the biggest album yet?
There was one album that was done a few years ago that was just a digital release that had 30 songs, but this is the largest kind of physical album that we've produced. So that's why the 2 discs, and we're pretty excited to be able to do that. Yeah,
that's awesome. So seeing that you've been raising more money over time and you're growing as an organization, what are you guys' plans for the future? Do you have anything in mind in terms of expansion outside of expanding to a year-round shelter?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of different ideas that we have. I think the thing that we're excited about with this women's shelter is it's really going to allow some of our case management to expand. The women's shelter is a place of respite that women and non-binary individuals can come to for safety in the winter. But man, that opens up so many doors for relationships. And so by expanding year round, it's going to allow us to maintain some of those relationships beyond just the winter months. Sometimes we have individuals that come, they use it, they make use of the space, and they have a safe place to rest. And then when the weather gets nice, we don't see them as much. We have other individuals that when they come in, they need that, man. I mean, so many of those living on the street, what they're desperate for is positive and encouraging relationships. We had one individual, Nikki, who came to us last year. Nikki hadn't been on the street for very long. She was scared, as you would expect, and came to the shelter. And she sent this email about a month after first coming to our staff, and it was so encouraging. She talked about how the staff were gracious and kind and patient with her, and she felt like she was safe.
Oh my gosh.
Fast forward a couple months, man, she sent us another email and said, hey, I want you to know I just entered the Army and I'm at basic training. We're like, oh, that's awesome, Nikki. We're excited for you. A few months later, she emailed us and said, hey, I want you to know that I've graduated and I'm going to be stationed in Georgia. And so it's that kind of stuff, those relationships that can be extended year round that we're so fired up about.
Oh, my gosh. And I can only imagine that feeling's irreplaceable, knowing that you were able to help someone that was on the streets, man. And then a couple months later joins our military and is now serving our country.
100%. And that's the beauty of Joy To The Burg, man. To be able to offer this space is directly because of this album and the musicians that have given themselves to it.
Isn't it crazy, that domino effect?
It is, man.
It's
nuts.
Let's get together. Let's make a Christmas album. Let's put on a concert.
Right.
You're housing people and, looking at them just turning around their lives. And that's phenomenal.
It's awesome. I came to this project after it was 5 years into it and joining Christian Churches United staff. My kids think it's hilarious. I'm one of those guys that, like, I don't want to hear Christmas music until the day after Thanksgiving, right?
I'm the same way.
And so my kids are all loving the fact that here I am in July listening to Christmas music and planning a Christmas album. They think it's great that I have to go back on my rule, but it's such a cool thing to be a part of.
Yeah, so wow. I mean, that's you said back in July, so like it takes you all year to get this.
Oh, it's all year. We start opening up the submissions in May, June. We're spreading the word in January, February, getting people to think about it so that they can start submitting their songs. Then we're figuring out which songs are we going to fit on the album, which ones can we use, because when Christmas comes, the album's got to be produced, and it takes time to have it ready to go to be able to get out there. And so it is very much a year-round project.
Well, I guess, and you're working with so many musicians too,
Absolutely.
Got to make everyone's schedules work to get them all in the studio, get it all recorded. And now, what is the recording process like?
So the recording process is different for each of the artists.
Okay.
And so for a lot of the artists, they have their studios that they like working with. And we have some different studios that we're connected to that help support the project and provide studio time and different things like that as
that's
well.
Cool. Like donate studio time for it?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And so it is, you have the artists, you have the studios, we have different videographer producers that they offer up the video time and the recording for that as well. And so it is such an incredible collective of people working together to make this happen.
That's so cool.
Yeah, man, it's awesome.
So how would someone get involved with something like this?
Yeah, man. So joytotheburg.com. That's where you can get all of the information. Our first submission this past year came the second week of January.
Wow.
And so it came quick. People are like, Christmas is over. Here's my submission. I'm ready for next year.
Yeah, get me to the top of the list.
Absolutely. We've had some people already after we've kind of picked our songs and we're starting to move towards producing the album. We've had people like, hey, can we submit for next year? And so if you go to joytotheburg.com, that's where you can get all the information, where you can contact myself, get connected with Brandon on the Central Pennsylvania Music Hall of Fame to be a part of that project. But there's so many different things beyond the album. There's the street team. There's the concert itself. There's the work. You know, there's opportunities for volunteering with the shelters too.
How do you do that? Say you're not a musician, but you're moved by your story. Someone was moved by the story we just talked about, and they want to get involved with helping out at the shelter. How would they go about doing that?
So if you go to ccuhbg.org, and so that's Christian Churches United's website.
Okay.
There's a volunteer page on there, and you can fill it out there and say, hey, I want to volunteer at the shelter. We have a couple different shifts for volunteers where there's the intake. Man, that's all about hospitality.
I got
you. You like people, you want to smile, you want to help create a safe space as people enter the shelter. It's an opportunity to sit down with somebody and let them know, like, hey, when you come here, you're safe. We got you. And so there's volunteers that help with that. There's volunteers that help in the morning when it's helping people kind of gather their stuff and head out for the day, help with some food, help clean the place during the day as well. So there's many different ways that people can get involved.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah,
well,
dude.
Please, everyone, make sure you go check that out and get involved if you're available too. That's awesome, man. So I'm sure you have many of great stories. You know, different people have been there over the years.
Yeah.
More people like Nikki and whatnot. What has been your favorite part of this over the years?
Oh man, I mean, I think for me, it is watching how people get moved by the project itself. Seeing people like Nikki or like Jose or the different men and women that are supported by this, and watching them in their strength and their resilience overcome their challenges is so life-giving. But it's also life-giving to me to see businesses, to see musicians. I know you guys had a guy on recently, Greg Platzer, Greg is a big part of this project. He's been on every album, whether it's his own song or different bands that he's a part of. To watch Greg be moved by this, that for me, man, that gives me life.
Yeah.
I love watching other people be inspired and be moved by the project. Greg's a big, tough guy, right? He's really, man, Greg's got a deep heart. And it's beautiful.
He does, man. That's awesome. Greg is such a great guy, and it's awesome that we have this community here. That's, the whole reason for what we do with the podcast here is bring the community together, and it's just awesome to see all the different sides of it,
right.
Where from the live music to the community to the volunteering to the help and giving shelter, bringing a safe place for people to rest their head at night.
Right.
That's awesome that we have this community that can bring something together like this. What do you think that we do differently here in Pennsylvania that maybe other places that don't do? Is it just something in the water? I mean, what do you think?
Something in that Susquehanna River, man. I've lived in a lot of different places, man. I was born and raised in Pittsburgh. I've spent time in Boston, in Kansas City, in Portland, Oregon, and then here in Harrisburg. And I don't know what it is about Central Pennsylvania, but there's a camaraderie and a commitment to working together on things that it's just a beautiful, beautiful piece. When I had a chance last year to share at the Hall of Fame ceremony where we celebrated Sheldon Jones, whose idea this was to, hey, let's do this. One of the things I think that musicians and artists get better than most people is that part of who we're created to be and how we're created to be is to give ourselves away and to create things that are beautiful and to offer it up as a gift. And so to watch musicians do that, there's been over 60 artists that have given to this album. Wow. There's a lot of new artists this year on the album that I'm fired up about, who are going to be a part of the project. Musicians get it, man. They understand that their gifts are a gift to the world, and so it's an incredible thing. It's a beautiful thing, and I find myself as not a musician to be very fortunate to be a part of this project.
And that's beautiful. How did you get involved in all this in the first place?
Yeah, and that was just coming to work for Christian Churches United, man.
Really?
I have a passion to support people who are struggling with housing, whether that's they're unhoused, or whether there's just not affordable housing, People that there, man, we all go through stuff.
Yeah.
We get sick, we lose a job here, car breaks down, whatever, and we just find ourselves in a tough spot. And so for me, I knew I wanted to be a part of the housing crisis. That's a national crisis.
It is.
And very much something that we experience here in central Pennsylvania. And so to see that in Harrisburg, I joined CCU, and in the interview process, the executive director talked about Joy To The Burg. He talked about this thing that we do to help raise money for the work. It's a really cool, awesome thing. You're going to love it. And from that moment, as he talked about the project, I was like, man, I cannot wait to be a part of this project.
Like, ears just perked right up, man, and you were like...
I love creativity.
Yeah.
You know, I love imagination. And I think when we allow our imaginations to run wild, that's when we can create transformation. We can create opportunity. And musicians and homelessness, those aren't necessarily two things that were like, oh yeah, those fit together.
Yeah.
But somebody said, this is what I have. I have this gift. I have this talent. And I know I can use this gift and this talent to help somebody else. And other people were like, I'm in.
Yeah.
I can do that too. And so just by coming on staff with CCU, it was kind of like, hey, this is you got to help here. I'm in, man. And so that's how I got to be a part of the project, and I count myself fortunate.
Dude, that's awesome. Did you ever do anything like this before, or was this just like you heard about it and you're like, I want that. I want to be a part of this.
I've worked in social service and nonprofit things for my whole life.
Okay.
You know, whether that's been time as a pastor or a youth center, parachurch organizations, and now with CCU. And so it's one of those things for me that I knew I wanted to be a part of that. The Joy To The Burg piece was not something I was expecting. The reality is with Joy To The Burg is it has the potential to just continue to grow, to become a kind of its own thing in a lot of ways one day. And so getting to be a part of it right now and to see what could happen in the future is a gift.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I don't think this is going anywhere anytime soon. I don't think there's going to be any shortage of musicians willing to, to perform for this. And that's the beauty in the musicians. We kind of talked about, the specialty of central Pennsylvania. Yeah. The musicians here, just like, this is, all I have to give, but it's something that's going to help. Absolutely. I love to see that, because even it just goes to show it's like anything you can give helps, and it can go a very long way.
100%, man. And it's people from all different genres of music too, right? You've got Canaan's Land, that's bluegrass. You've got Faith Noel, who's going to be on the album this year. You've got Greg Platzer and the Groove Rebels and their rock that's going to be on it. We've got there's your traditional choral arrangements that are going to be a part of it. There's a youth band. Then Debo's going to be a part of the album.
Oh, man.
And so it's this just wide range of music and who all want to be a part of the project. And so it's not going anywhere, man, and it's awesome.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to it this year, man. Gives me just another thing to look forward to with Christmas. So
absolutely.
Man, well, that's awesome. Well, is there anything else maybe I didn't cover? Anything else you want to shout out? Or
Nah, man, I think that's it. Joy To The Burg, new album will be out hopefully by early to mid-November. Concert December 15th. JoyToTheBurg.com. Get involved, volunteer, serve. That's it for me.
All right, cool. Well, yeah, make sure you go check them out at the Englewood for the live concert. Every ticket sale counts, and buy the album as well. So
appreciate you.
Hey, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks,
I appreciate
man.
it. I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation with Nick. Let's keep it rolling. We got Faith Noel coming up next. Sitting here with Faith Noel, 2-time CPMA winner and 4-time nominee. Faith, this isn't your first time on your show, but it is your first time here. Thank you so much for coming out tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been saying I need to get on this podcast for so long because me and you, man, we could yap for hours.
Yep. Yeah. I'm sure we're probably not going to have enough time tonight, but, doesn't mean you can't come back another time or something like that. But I'm sure we still, regardless, have a lot to cover, and you have a lot to talk about because you've been up to a lot lately.
Oh, yeah.
So you've been in Nashville recently, playing some shows down there. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yes. So I have great buddies in Nashville, and I kind of just follow them around and sing and play here and there. I've played the first time I went to Nashville 8 stages, the second time 12 stages, and this one I don't know, too many to count.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome, though. That's quite the achievement.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. What was your favorite part about playing in Nashville?
The adrenaline and the amazing people that I met.
Yeah. What do you think is like the biggest crowd down there?
I'm not sure.
No?
I don't know.
You had to like guesstimate maybe?
It definitely varies.
Yeah.
I mean, you go at like 10 in the morning and there's people at bars and it's like why are there so many people here? This is crazy.
Don't you guys work? Like, hey, live music though. I mean, people love it. So I would love to see Harrisburg or the central Pennsylvania area get to the the status that Nashville's at with live music.
That would be so cool. So I'm from Gettysburg, and obviously like all the old town buildings and stuff like that. I think they could make something so cool like Nashville. That would be great.
Oh yeah, especially with the square there and everything.
Oh, yeah. That would be really cool.
Yeah, I know that'd be awesome. I mean, I know Lancaster does something kind of similar to that with like Launch Music Conference, where they get like hundreds of bands over the course of 3 days. But like, I think Gettysburg would do a great job at something like that. So
I'm waiting to see it.
Hey, I mean, maybe it'll happen. We'll get in contact with the right people. So outside of playing shows in Nashville, you're still playing shows locally as well, right?
Yes. Every weekend, I would say I played 4 to 5 shows a weekend or a week, and I've been doing it since COVID, so 4 years now.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Does it ever get a little bit exhausting, or is it still just so much fun every day?
No, I mean, it's like a reset each time I don't have gigs, so it's like I have some time to myself to write music or to learn new songs, and then I just go back. I mean, I wouldn't say it is a routine in a way, but it doesn't feel like it because I'm playing different places all the time.
So it makes it more fun. It's not
Yes.
just like every day, same place. Like that is cool. Speaking of writing new music, you are working on new stuff right now?
Yes, I have been, and I have quite a few songs that I need to get recorded, and maybe next time I go back to Nashville pretty soon, I'll be recording them. You never know, hopefully.
Wow. That's awesome. Oh my gosh. So thinking like full length EP, what do you have any ideas? Can you not say? I don't know.
I guess you'll have to find out.
All right, fair. Right. Well, we'll have to make sure we stay up to date with Faith Noel to find out with that. So you also recently have been playing some pretty big shows too, as well.
Yes, so I made my debut at Barefoot Country Music Festival this summer, and I actually wore these pink boots there.
Oh.
I bought them just for that and the podcast.
Oh my gosh.
And of course, like playing in Nashville, I just had my first ever show officially on the Strip on Broadway at Margaritaville with Mike Easterday. So I got oh my gosh. Hold on.
Okay.
So I got to share the stage with him, and thank you so much, Mike, because that was awesome. And yeah, I played recently at Secrets for the Country Calling Festival.
Wow. What was that like?
It was awesome.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I can only imagine. That's a pretty big deal down there.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I actually visited Secrets, and I got to meet the manager last time I was in Ocean City. So that was great. I also played Dogfish Head for the second time ever. So.
Wow. Okay. That's those are both pretty big feats right there. So that's awesome. So when you're down in Nashville, I know you got to meet some pretty awesome people. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes. So I had a writer's round that I had to get to. We were just walking on Broadway. Normally when we go to Nashville, we don't like to waste time, so we kind of just get to it, and it's always Broadway and then writer's round, normally at the end of the night. And I ended up being able to play at Big Machine. Thank you to Ian Davis for sharing the stage with me there. That was awesome because each time I went to Nashville, I was like, I want to play there so bad. So thank you to Ian Davis for making that happen. And as I was up on the stage, we're sitting and we see like a bunch of cops, and we're like, oh, what's going on? So Lainey Wilson was having her grand opening for Bell Bottom Up, and she was going to be there.
Wow.
Yeah, so eventually we ended up having to leave for my writer's round literally 3 minutes before Lainey got there.
Oh no.
Yeah, so then at the end of the night, it was kind of like a flip a coin thing. We were deciding, do we go back and get some rest, eat some ice cream, kind of relax? Or do we go back and see if we can see Lainey? And we went back to Broadway, and we ended up all getting in. And I got to meet up with Jackson Dean again and have a very long conversation with him, and he's the sweetest. I got to meet Priscilla Block, and to top it off, I got to meet Lainey Wilson.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I also got to meet Jamie Johnson as well, standing outside a Big Machine.
So what's it like meeting those kind of people?
It's insane. It's definitely like, they're so down to earth, and I don't know. It's crazy, honestly. It's a huge adrenaline rush for sure.
Oh, I can only imagine, because I'm sure it's like at first you're just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, and then after just a couple moments of talking to them, you're like, wow, they're just a normal person, just like you and me.
Of course, yeah. I gave Lainey Wilson some of my business cards, and she kind of fanned them and was like, oh my gosh, I'll take them all. She was so sweet.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Hey, maybe I mean, maybe there could be a Lainey Wilson, Faith Noel collaboration in the future.
Maybe.
That would be awesome. So, I mean, speaking of the future, what are some of your goals and your plans for the future right now?
I would love to co-write. I know I sat down and had lunch with Lance Carpenter a year ago. Thank you, Lance. That was amazing. He had bought us all lunch in Nashville and welcomed us for the first time coming there, and kind of just told me a bunch of stuff and what it was about, and asked my goals. And I said, my goals for 2024 are to co-write. I would love to do some co-writing in Nashville. That would be great. I haven't gotten there yet, but maybe at the end of the year.
There's still time.
Yeah, of course. And to sing with Chris Stapleton.
Chris Stapleton?
Yes.
All right. That's awesome. How do you plan on getting there?
Doing what I'm doing.
Just doing what you're doing?
Yeah.
Just keep grinding.
Oh,
You'll
yeah.
get there.
You never know what's going to happen for sure.
No, I mean, you met Lainey last time you were in Nashville. Doesn't mean you couldn't run into Chris next time you're there either. So
I would definitely freak out.
full fangirl, just like.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And that's one thing that Lance was talking about. He was like, just be casual, talk about something that you love about their music specifically and how it affects you and what it means to you. And I really took that advice in, especially when meeting Priscilla Block and Lainey and Jamie Johnson.
How did you do that?
Just walk up to them and say, like, okay, so for instance, Priscilla Block, she has a guitar strap that Jerry Hart made, which Jerry Hart made me a custom guitar strap, so thank you so much, and I love it.
That's awesome.
And I officially have had it for a year now. And I walked up to Priscilla, and I was like, hey, so Jerry Hart made your guitar strap. Well, this is what mine looks like.
That's so cool. Did she like it?
Oh, yes. Yeah, she said that's so cool.
Oh, my gosh. I'm trying to remember what it looks like because I'm sure you probably had it last time we saw you perform live.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Man, so, I mean, you got a lot of different things going on right now. You're working on new music. You're performing down in Nashville, you're performing down in Maryland. Do you have any other plans on maybe branching out to different parts of the country to play? Florida, Texas?
I would love to play Utah.
Utah. Okay.
And the thing is like, I want to live in Utah. My kind of thing is, like, from all this craziness, it's kind of like a break, and hopefully in the future, if I get to tour, like I said, it would be like a break from all that, like, and it's very peaceful, and it's just mountains, and I'm just like, that's amazing, and I want to live there so bad. So I would love to go visit Utah to see the music scene, and I know they said there's not much out there, but to me, it's still always an opportunity for something.
Of course, doesn't mean you can't go out there and make something out of it.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, Central Pennsylvania, I'm sure at one point there was nothing here, and look at what we have now. We have a whole Hall of Fame, a lot of big names coming from this area. Hopefully you'll be another future big name for this area. I think you keep going at the rate you're going, you probably will be.
Aw.
So, I mean, it's really cool to have this opportunity to sit down and, meet with musicians. I mean, you've been doing work with the Central Pennsylvania through their Youth Music Showcase for the last 3 years now?
Yeah, 2021, I believe.
Yeah, it was your first year, and then you won the 1 year, and I mean, it's cool. It's the third time I'm getting to sit down and talk with you, so it's always awesome to get to catch up with you and see what you're up to. And I mean, it's just awesome that you're always out and about doing these cool shows down in Nashville and stuff. I mean, it's mind blowing. So, what would you say is like your dream place to play in Nashville next? Then, because I mean, you've gotten some pretty big places down there already too.
Oh my gosh. That's a tricky question because I really want to sing at the bigger name places like Jason Aldean, and Luke Combs is new as well too. And Miranda Lambert's and Honking Tonk and Kid Rock, that would be amazing. So I guess we'll have to kind of stick around and see what happens there.
Fair. That's fair. So back to the local stuff, though. You are also going to be playing on the 6th year Joy To The Burg album, or doing a song for it, I guess.
Yep. I recently recorded Mary Did You Know at the Green Room studio with Derek.
Oh.
Yes.
Derek's an awesome guy. We've had him on here before. That's awesome. So, and that's coming out in November. Are you going to be playing at the concert?
So I will be going on Good Day PA to do a live performance of Mary Did You Know.
Oh, awesome.
December 12th, I believe.
Perfect. Make sure you tune into that.
Yeah.
That's so cool. What was that writing process like, or recording process like with Derek?
Very quick, very tedious, because when I record, if you want something to sound like the live version, then just go to a live show. But when in the recording studio, I'm very particular with certain things, because if not, you might as well just go to a live show and hear me sing.
Fair, yeah. I mean, I've heard you sing live. You're very good live.
Thank you. I think it's so funny because I definitely sound a lot younger on recordings and recording studios. Like my songs I recorded in Nashville and then I do them live and I'm like, I feel like I sound older.
Really?
Yes.
Like in what way? Like your voice or like?
Yeah, I feel like my voice sounds more mature. It's hilarious. I don't know why, but
Interesting. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, everyone always has their own opinions about their recorded voice. I know people that have the voice of an angel and can't stand their own singing voice. And I'm like, how? Come on. Looking at you, Julio. Hunter, you know him. Wow, now that's cool. Now, what other studios have you worked with, or just Derek, or?
So I recorded a year ago officially in Blackbird Studios with Brian Clark.
That's right, we
in
did talk
Nashville.
about that. Yes.
Yeah, we did talk about that,
Yeah.
and that was a great experience. Every time I play my songs live, I have the constant like images in my head of the process of recording there, and it was just so fun. And the guys were so down to earth, which made it even more fun. And they would joke around, and it's like a great time.
That's cool. How many songs did you do down there?
I'd recorded 3 songs.
3 songs.
Yes.
And what was that process like? I mean, aside from fun and everything like that. I mean,
It was a 2-day process. So
Okay.
the first day we just went in and we got done a lot, honestly, in a day. We kind of did a scratch track so they know where my vocals and everything are being placed and all that. And then they went in and did the instruments, and then we finished that one. So then we were able to do the vocals on that song. So we technically got one song done in 9 hours, I think it was.
wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, I mean, that's, I guess, what makes their name there, though. So, now, do you have anyone locally or any venues locally that you haven't got to work with that you're looking forward to in the future?
I'm down just to play anywhere, honestly.
Yeah.
Anywhere and everywhere I can. I mean, I played in Kentucky recently too as well, and that was for their Spoonbread Festival, and we went straight from Nashville to Kentucky right on stage, and it was a hot one. And I honestly missed that because I've gotten back to PA and it's just been cold and rainy and it's sad.
Yeah, well, there's a little different up here.
Yeah. But
Wow.
yeah, that was awesome. I played in Kentucky for their bourbon festival too as well. That was for their contest. That was in in April actually. And it was just great to be back with my buddies from Kentucky too. Savannah Dean, she shared the stage with me as well. And it was great that I got to share that with her at Tipsy Cow. So that was my debut there too as well, which was very important.
Wow, that's really cool. So you've been making a lot of friends in different places
Yes.
over the years.
Yes.
That's cool. But I mean, what do you enjoy most about doing all of that?
Making friends.
Making the
and-
friends, yeah.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. And kind of getting that bond with them. I feel like a musician bond is very different than just a regular friendship bond.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's it's not like running a business, but it's also it's got its God, I can't find the right word for it right now, but it's still struggling. I want to say quirks, and I'm like, that's not the right word. It just has that's effect to it almost though, because it's just like
Yeah.
it's not necessarily a business, but you are also performing. You're making a product and you're putting it out there to the world. So having that common ground, I guess to say, is
Yeah.
probably what makes that relationship a little bit different.
For sure.
Yeah. Man, that's great. Well, is there anything else maybe I'm missing that you wanted to cover or anything like that? Or
I just wanted to give a huge shout out to Dean Kramer with the Brett Michaels Band, because I've known him for over a year now, and he has just been a huge help and great guidance in music. And yeah, you can check out my website, faithnoel.com, and everything you could possibly need is on there. I mean, social media links and my schedule and Venmo and PayPal, which definitely help for the funds of Nashville, I would say for sure, especially if I'm going to record.
yeah.
And also my song links are on there as well.
Cool. All right. Awesome. Well, we'll make sure we get all that, linked in the description of this and whatnot. So everyone, please check out Faith Noel. Please listen to her music. She's a phenomenal artist from Central Pennsylvania. Faith, thank you so much for coming on the show again. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Of course. We'll have you back on sometime soon.
Yes.
All right. Well, that about does it for this week. Huge thanks to Nick and Faith for coming out here tonight and hanging out with us. Everyone else, stay tuned for the next episode. We will see you then.